Well, hey and howdy there, y'all. YAMAHSAKI here, and welcome back to YAMAHSAKI RC. And in today's video, we're going to be continuing the adventure and the journey of the restoration of the 1930 Oakland V8 sedan car. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded one of these videos. I've just been really busy with a whole bunch of other tasks, but I can promise you I have been slowly working on the old car still. I'm going to have plenty of things to show you in this video, plenty to go over, and cool enough, against all odds, I was able to find some old wire spoke wheels for the old car, and we're going to be talking a lot about these, so stay tuned. So here be one of the sets, or one of the wheels to that car. I got 4 of them, and I actually got this because I made contact with a guy on the Antique Automobile Club of America forum, and he actually had these old rims, and we negotiated and talked about it, and we came to an agreement, and I ended up with 4 rims, and he ended up with a good amount of money for these things. You know, it was a fair price. You know, most of the money went into the shipping because these things are not cheap. Freaking, what am I trying to say? English is not easy today. They are not light. They are fairly heavy because everything on this old car was made of metal. These are split rims. There's one of the split rings I brought out here to show you guys. And these rims are just only one piece of the puzzle. I will be going over the rest of it in this video as well. So just stay patient, y'all. Stay patient. But just wanted to go over these spoke wheels with you guys a little bit. There's a moderate amount of rust, but all the spokes are there. There's a couple of them that are bent out of shape on a couple of them, but you know, they're all rock solid. There's no really bad pitting. The rings look really good. One of them does have a broke off piece right here, and I will show you guys that as well. But these things are in good shape. I am going to need to pressure wash them, evapor rust them, wire wheel them, all the same stuff I've been doing to every other part because that seems to be working for me. I can't really use those wood wheels unless I put a ton of effort into them. 3 of them are good, but one of them has really bad rust issues, you know, about yay much on the rim, and it's just completely gone. So I had to come up with a solution and get a new pair, different pair. And I'd rather have wire wheels. They're stronger. You don't have to worry about getting them wet or anything like that. You just got to worry about making them pretty and making sure they're structurally stable to do everything they need to do. They're just in good shape, and I feel like I got lucky when I found these, because for a car that's 94 years old, finding parts is not an easy task. It really is not. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and clean these up. We are gonna get started on cleaning the rims, wire wheel them, and evapor rust them because they're small enough, and I have bought in a couple buckets worth of evapor rust for this job, as well as the engine when the time comes to do that. So we're not going to be worrying about the actual rims per se today. We're going to be worrying about those rings and getting those cleaned up and painted. These ones I'm going to need to pressure wash, and I don't have the wire hooked up yet, so that is holding me back on doing that. But I'm going to go ahead and take these back to the house and show you guys the other 4, as well as the missing pieces and parts of the puzzle that I've been telling you about. And here's the other 3 right here. All the same. I think that one is, or the very back one there is the one that broke off of the rear driver's side when the spokes deteriorated too much. That's the spare for the back. But these 3 right here are the other wire spoke wheels. You can see right here on that one ring where it broke off. There's a nice clean break, so it should be easily weldable. It might take some time because this is a split rim ring, and we're going to need it to really hold when we're going to want to get some tires on these things, because split rims are known for blowing apart and killing people. That's why nobody works on them, which kind of stinks in the modern day when you need somebody to do that for you. It can be definitely intimidating. I'll just go ahead and show you guys. I did do a little bit of a test on the broken piece here. I just dipped it in evaporust and I wire wheeled it, and it actually cleaned up really good. And you can kind of see some of the original paint there. Could have been black, could have been red, I don't know, but that right there is a really clean break. You know, bevel that a little bit and line it up and weld it really good, and it should hold. It should hold. Now, as I'm always going to say in these videos, if anybody has any idea on certain things, feel free to comment down below, because as you can see right here on these rings, they have these small little openings here, and right where that piece that's broke off, it's got a little square spot right here, and I'm not sure what that does, whether that helps get it on or what, I don't know. So comment down below if you guys know anything. And just to help give you guys a better understanding and visual idea of the differences between the wheels that came on these Oaklands, there is the wood spoke artillery wheel, would have been standard, and then there is the wire wheel. Almost the same size, and they look pretty good. Those are going to look pretty good, guaranteed. Now, I should have said this at the beginning of the video, but I forgot, so. But anyway, take all these video clips with a pinch of salt. As I've mentioned in previous videos, some of these clips are not chronologically right, and that's mainly due to because I make some clips months in advance and then, you know, work my way towards the whole video. So just to be wary of that, let's move on. So here are the missing links to the puzzle for the wheels. These are the brake drums that I also got from the same guy. He ended up shipping these last because these flipping things are heavy as hell. But I did the same process. I had to degrease them because there was a lot of grease on the underside here, and I'll show you that. I didn't get all of it. It's still kind of dirty on the inside and everything, but for what they are, they're pretty good looking now. They were all rusted, and you can obviously see the pitting here and everything. I'll zoom in, see if you guys want a better detail. But I mean, it's pitted in certain spots, but you know what? 94 years old, folks. You can't get much better than this. I ended up painting these poppy red, just Rust-Oleum spray paint. I evapor-rusted them. I did the technique that I am going to do on the engine block. And that involves, I took a big bucket and I put this in a trash bag. I filled up that bucket with a little bit of water, and then I filled the trash bag with evapor-rust, and it worked perfectly. These things came out great. This one is for the rear, for the front. You can kind of see the similarities between that and the wood spoke artillery wheels. That's where your hubcap would be, or your wheel puller. But what really astounded me, I'm going to have to move this one here. What really astounded me was this one here for the rear. Why? Well, the only thing, let me say that again, the only thing that is giving you power to your wheels is that one tiny little key. That is what gives you all the power from that big ass engine. And I think that's crazy. It's not a tapered fit, it's not a spline drive, it's a key drive, which I think is crazy. There's 85 horses going through that pin, so I'm surprised that that held up as good as it did. Crazy. Crazy. But those are the brake drums, and I've got the other ones down here. to the left of you guys, and we're going to go ahead and finally open them because he actually sent them exactly the same time, except these two arrived before the other two. So we're not gonna worry about them today, but I just want to show you guys what they look like before I ended up cleaning them and painting them and all that. One more thing I should mention is these lug nuts. I believe these are 12 by 20. Let me get one off here. I ended up putting anti-seize on all of these threads too, so it makes it easier for them to go on and not get stuck. But this is one of the original lug nuts. And the way this works is you got your brake drum, you put your brake drum on, or you can put the whole assembly on, but all these lugs are what holds your wheel on. So your brake drum and your wheels hold each other together, and then this holds it to the car. So it's kind of a confusing, process. But anyway, these are the original ones, 12 by 20, or not 12 by 20, half inch by 20 threads. And these sons of guns are massive. These are massive, massive nuts. Let me show you why real quick. I'll be right back. Okie dokie. So, zoom in a little bit here. That's an original. Now I went online to see if I can find some lug nuts, because this is an American built automobile, meaning that it is going to be standard American hardware all throughout the thing. So I ended up going to Murdoch's and getting a couple of brand new 12 or half inch by 20, and they fit pretty good. They thread on. Here's the problem. Look at the size difference. There's the biggest one I bought. There's the smallest one I bought. All three of them fit. The problem is that is the only one that's going to work. And I'll show you why. See, if I were to take this nut over here, and I'll show you, that's your 5-bolt or your 5-stud lug pattern. The reason why they're so flipping big is because usually on a wheel, you've got that little well, that little dish in, and that's why they're always tapered down, so it can kind of hug that nut so it doesn't come loose. Well, these are the only things that will properly fit in those holes. The other ones are way too small. Way too small. And I don't think I'm going to be able to find any this big, and if I do, well, I'm probably going to have to pay a pretty penny for them, which is not something I want to do if I still have the originals. The only problem with the originals is some of them will not go all the way down on the threads. Like this one will go pretty far, and that's why I put the anti-seize on. But like right here, this is as far as this one. Well, this one wants to go a little bit more. Some of them just have really bad threads, like this guy over here. Bear with me, guys. I'll get this one off. This one's in pretty rough shape. You can see it's been gnarled on, but you can probably just barely see how bad those threads are in there. So I'm probably going to have to tap these out somewhat to get them to work again, because I simply cannot use the modern day equivalents that are offered. Now I ended up painting these two. I painted them hand finished, kind of to mask all the wear that's been on them throughout the years, but that's the current dilemma I have now, is I'm going to have to reuse these, but you know what? I have them, so why not? I just have a whole bunch of spare new lug nuts to use now. But that's pretty much it for the brake drums. We're going to go ahead and we're going to open up these boxes here. Get these ones that have not been cleaned up on camera for you guys to see. I just got to move these big sons of guns back a little bit. These things are heavy. Everything on this car is heavy. And oh, before I show you guys those other ones, another question for you guys. If anybody knows what the hell that thing does. It looks like just a little panel that comes off because there's a screw right here. I'm hoping the Evaporust got it, but I'm not sure what it's there for, whether it's to drain all that graphite material out of the brake drum or what it's supposed to do. My dad maybe theorized that it might have been to balance out the brake drum. I'm not sure how that would work, but yeah, comment down below if you know anything on that. Now let's get to unboxing these other drums. Okie dokie, so let's get this brake drum up here. I'm probably going to only open one. We just need to get rolling on these rings so we can get them cleaned up and evapor rusted and keep on rolling with this video here. I will say I do appreciate this guy's effort in packing these things. The wheels came in some custom made cardboard boxes that he made, and they were just wired to a piece of plywood, so a lot of effort went into packing these things halfway across the states. And yeah, you heard that right. These wheels came halfway, all the way across the United States to the other side. How's that for crazy? Alright. Get this puppy out of here. And boom. Brake drum number 3. Here we go. So there you go. You can obviously see a very big difference between, this is one of the fronts, and here's the other front one. You can just see how nicely those cleaned up. Isn't that something? Let's see here. How do these nuts feel? Well, they all feel very good. The threads don't look bad. Let's see how dirty it is in here. You can see all that. Look at all that grease. Oh, lovely. We're going to have a grand old time here, y'all. A lot of grease in there. That's where your bearing would probably go, is right in that area. I'm hoping I can reuse the ones that are on the wood spokes. I'm sure you can. But yeah, there's not a lot of pitting. I mean, there's a moderate amount, but nothing terrible that will structurally sabotage these brake drums. I mean, these things will last another 200, 300 years if someone takes care of this dang thing after I'm gone. But yeah, get that. Isn't that something, y'all? But I figured I would show you guys the missing link, what I got going on. I think I was able to find a pair of tires that'll fit. The guy that I actually bought these from, he also posted on my antique automobile post about getting the original wooden wheels off. That the wheels he runs on his 30 Oakland, which is exactly like mine from what he's telling me, that they run a 5.50 by 18. And I was able to find a pair on Coker Tire for reasonably cheap. You know, you got to pay for each one individually, so I'd rather keep it on the down low and just get a pair of tires that'll fit this thing. I don't really care what they look like, although I would love some vintage off-road skinny wheels. That would be flippin' amazing. But aside from that, that's it for the brake drums. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the rings, and we're going to get these things wire wheeled, cleaned up, and we're going to get some evapor rust in a bucket, and we're going to get to rolling on the road, y'all. Alrighty, so I got one of the rings in the vise here. Got a little cloth to protect it, because I'm not really sure what this steel is. It could be cast iron for all I know, or it could be cast iron steel as what they used for the pistons. And I don't know if that's cast steel or cast iron, so... But what we're going to do is we're going to wire wheel the piss out of these things and get them ready to go in the big tank for evapor rusting for the whole day. And then we're going to go ahead and prime them and paint them. And we'll just keep doing that with every other part, like I have been for, shoot, the past couple of months. So let's rock and roll. That's going to clean up real nice. It's going to be kind of tricky in some areas. get all that garbage out of there. We gotta tighten this up. There we go. Definitely gonna take a while, y'all. So I'm gonna cut the camera off here so you guys don't have to bear with me for the next 5 million years. Alrighty, y'all, so I got all 4 done. They are all wire wheeled and everything. Now we just gotta get them in the evaporest, and they're gonna, you know, sit there for, who knows, many hours to 24 hours. We'll just say that. But we also have a visitor in our midst. Big Mikey is back. We're going to be going on some adventures, so I'm just finishing up what I'm doing here. But Mikey, what do you got to say to the community out there?
Community. Today is my birthday.
It is Mikey's birthday. Anyway, Mikey, so we have some questions for you, good son.
A question?
Well, I have a question.
I have an answer.
Mikey, do you think that I will be able to get the 1930 Oakland sedan going? What is your opinion on the car, and do you think it's possible for me to do such a feat?
I think... Here's what I think. Alright. Here's what I think. I think... Probably, I don't fucking know. Why would you ask me this? I'm not the fucking FBI, bro. I'm not with the Illuminati.
Are you sure?
I don't know.
Are you sure about that? Alrighty, so I've gotten all the rims, or the rings, in this bucket. Now I'm just going to pour the evaporest. This stuff's already been used quite a bit, so that's why I'm just using it on this. I just need enough to cover those rings. And I think I'm going to add a little bit more, so we'll be right back. Alright, so we're just going to pour a little bit more in there, get that top one covered in there. So we'll pour the whole thing in there. Stuff's old anyway. And then that is pretty much going to do it for the rings, guys. I am still going to have to do the other 2 brake drums, and I'm going to go ahead and do those in that bucket over here. That gray one, I'm just going to fill it with degreaser and clean them first, and then I'll use my garbage bag method with the evaporest. And that'll be it for that. In other news, well, y'all, I've finally made a startling discovery throughout my journey with the parts for the Oakland, in the fact that I cleaned up the wrong generator and radiator fan assembly. For one reason. Overall, both generators that I have are the same, except the other one has a slightly smaller and just a plain finished badge. Well, this one has that bigger painted one, but it also has this, which I didn't realize I needed, which is a 6-volt cutoff, or cutout. I'm not sure what entirely it does, but you gotta have a little connection there. And then it's also connected down here with the generator. Right there. Got your pulley, your fan that comes off. When you take these 3 bolts off, then if you want to actually get the piece back here that holds everything on, you got to pull it out with a pulley puller right there. But this one is also free. It's not froze up like the other one. And I'll just show you the other one here. This is the one I cleaned up, painted the pulley. I put it on backwards by accident. It looks kind of funky, but kind of cool. I don't have the fan. I think that's in with all the other painted parts that I have, but you can see how cleaned up this one is. It still has a lot of original paint on it and everything. It's all cast iron and everything, but this one is unfortunately froze up, but I think the other one will clean up just as good as this one. The other one looks like it's a little bit more grimy. Maybe a tad bit more rusty, scale rust on it. But the evaporest and some degreaser will take care of that. And then I have the complete generator assembly. And I guess while I'm at it, I'll show you where all the other parts are for the Oakland, where I've put them and everything, since I am out here and they're out here too. But we got another back plate that goes in between the engine and the transmission. Got the pistons that you've seen before. These are all the real bad ones. There's the manifold assembly that is in good shape. Still in good shape. Moderate shape, I guess you could say. I think this is the hand crank lever. I'm not sure what these plates are for, if anybody knows what these plates are for. Go ahead and comment down below. Here's one of them. It's got a piece of wood attached to it, so could be. And the other one I used as a test piece for sandblasting. You can see it's all nice and shiny. I have no idea what this is. If anybody knows what that is, let me know. I don't know if it's for a car or what it's for. Got another head. Got another head. Here's the beautiful, magnificent radiator. Says Oakland right there with the Oakland badge. I am unfortunately missing the radiator cap, so I'm in the search for that. I don't even care if it has the bird on it. I just want the flipping radiator cap. More parts down in this box here that I had to reinforce because it was falling apart. It's a nice little Wenzel box. I love those. Here's the hood. It's in pretty good shape. Not too beat up or anything. And more parts, side cover and everything else that's out here. And then here's the box with the crankcase, or not the crankshaft and the camshaft and the rocker arm rod. But here's the weird thing. This box says Oakland right here, and it's got my grandpa's name on it. But if you read that, it says Engine Rebuilders Inc. It's a really old box from a engine rebuild company from Denver, Colorado. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. Look at that crankshaft real close. That looks like it's been machined. I mean, it's rusty because it's so old, but I believe that these three parts have already been machined. I think that's what my grandpa was doing, from what my dad said back in the days, that it needed engine work, so the engine was getting machined and worked on and everything. Which is quite interesting because the other block, as I've mentioned in previous videos, well, it's still out in the shed. And I did find some parts that I'll go and show you in a minute. They're part of the valve train. And as you guys probably remember, the engine block that I've been showing you has everything that's rusted in it. We've got the crankshaft, not the crankshaft is not rusted in it, the camshaft is. The rocker arms, the rocker arm rod, and I believe the valve guides. So we got those four major components locked up tight in that engine. Let me go show you something. Alright, so this is what I wanted to show you guys, is this box of parts. Now this was something that my dad had told me had been sitting on the shelf out there in the garage for years and years, and I never even knew that it was all these parts that belonged to the Oakland. But the other day I went and looked, and sure enough, they'd been sitting there for probably 20 years or so on the shelf, completely covered in dust and everything. But as you can see, a boatload of valve parts for the Oakland. There's one of your rocker arms. Got tons of rocker arms, and they're all free. They all spin. I'm sure all these nuts move. Plenty of valves and springs and retainers. They're all in just great shape. You know, a little beat up because they're 94 years old, but even valve guides, and this is what one of those valve guides look like. It's just a simple rod with kind of a thinned one side and majorly thinned on the other. And these can be probably relatively easily reproduced, possibly. I mean, I don't know. Depends on what kind of steel it's made of and how many I need, but yeah, plenty of valve parts. Now, when I discovered this, it made me realize something. So if you think about it, there's two blocks, right? One of them has all these parts rusted in it. But now that these parts are lying here right in front of me, right here, that makes me theorize something. And my theory being, if it's correct, out in that shed, there might be a completely disassembled V8 engine block for an Oakland. And if that's the case, that makes me really excited for one reason. Because if it's just the bare block, that makes it so much easier for the machine shop. They don't have to battle a whole bunch of rusty parts in a block that's 94 years old. So that's what we're going to go find out right now, guys. We're going to go out into that shed, drag out that engine block, and do some investigating and see if it's in way better shape than this bad boy right here. Alrighty, so this is what we're dealing with, guys. There is the other engine block, and you know what? It doesn't look that bad. I think between the two engines, we can make one of these run. It's got the synchronizer lever on top there. It's also got the valve covers still in place, or the camshaft covers. So yeah, that's a V8 engine block for an Oakland. And I'm probably just going to take it out just like I did the last one. I hooked a tow strap around it and drug it out. So that's probably what I'm going to do now. So let's get to it. Alright, so I managed to get it drug out a little bit and put on a skid. And then I've attached that via tow strap to the Cub Cadet. And this is exactly how I did it the last time. I actually had to manhandle it out of there first and pull it by hand. Man, this block is heavy. Damn. But anyway, this block looks way better than the other one. It's got the, like I said, it's got the synchronizer lever right here. It does have a whole bunch of valve guides in it, but they don't look terribly rusted. This surface looks a hell of a lot better on this one than on the other one. The heads don't look bad. The cylinders don't look too bad, too rusted. There's a lot of crap in here. A lot of leaves and stuff, but look at that. There's no camshaft, no rocker rod, nothing at all. I mean, aside from a few, and there is one valve stuck right here. But honestly, this block doesn't look that bad at all. I mean, it's all there. It's all there. So let's go ahead and get this puppy drug out of here. Well, there you go, guys. There's the second engine block. And my theory was somewhat correct. It doesn't have the rocker arm rod in it, or the cam shaft. It does still have all the valve guides, and one valve is stuck in there, but there's an original manifold gasket still on there. Looks like that stud right there is snapped off. I know these studs are probably going to be the biggest pain in the ass. That's where your fuel pump would go, and that would run off a gear in your off your camshaft there. And the cat's investigating along with me. I still am trying to figure out how these seals work for the bottom here. There's a way, because I found the oil pump And I think since this is covered by the valve or by the cam chain cover and everything, you can't see it, but down here there's a hole down in the crankshaft holder right there that you screw, I believe you screw one of your ends of your oil pump down there. Your exhaust is right there. I'm not sure what that big thing is there for. Little valve right there. So I'm gonna have to figure this thing out, guys. Oh, I bet those are, those are for if your engine freezes over, you don't blow your engine with water and everything. So I bet I can get replacements of those. Wonder if that's an oil pressure sensor. I don't know. But there's no dirt or anything caked down in here, very much at least. So that's the one that I'm gonna maybe attempt to evaporust. In fact, now that I have this engine out here, we gotta do an experiment. Yes, it's a success. So some of you might have remembered on one of my first Oakland videos that I mentioned that there was a guy that did this thing in one of his YouTube videos where he took the engine and he put it in a bag and then put evaporust in the bag and everything. Well, the engine's under there and it fits in this container. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get a big trash bag when I get the water hooked up, fill this with water, fill the trash bag with evaporust, with the engine, and I'll use my dad's homemade hoist system. We'll put a chain hoist right there. Hoist it up, dunk her down, and wait like a week or something like that. And then that engine will be looking like new. Amazing. Probably the first time this engine block has seen the light of day in 30 years. Alright, so it's been well over 24 hours, and we're going to get ready to go ahead and prime these. I'm just using rusty metal primer, because these things are fairly rusted still. They have just some surface rust to them, but we're going to put some primer on all of these, and then I'm going to paint the wheels navy blue. I think the color differentiation is going to be really good. I think those two colors, poppy red and navy blue, are going to work out real well. So this is just what I'm going to keep doing throughout the day. Just priming these and painting them. And then we have to get back onto those brake drums. Get those other two cleaned up. Alright, so I got all of them primed. They've all dried for a little bit. They're still a little tacky, but primer dries quick enough to where you can get the paint on the same day. The only one that I'm not going to paint navy blue, I decided on navy blue, as I said. The one that's broken off right here, I just left unpainted about yay much so I can get a good ground on it to weld it and everything, but all these other three will be painted. So I like to just do a quick squirt on the corner of the table or whatever just to make sure it's flowing nice, and we will get to painting. Oh yeah, I can already tell this color was the right choice. Absolutely. I'm starting with the back of the rings instead of the front. And it's going to be real nice. Yeah, look at that. It's looking good already. That's the first coat. There we go. So yeah, I'm going to pause it here, guys, and in the next clip, they're all going to be painted and looking nice and shiny and ready to roll. Alright, so while we wait for those rings to dry from painting, and then we're going to continue to paint them, I'm going to focus on these brake drums. And I've had this one soaking for probably an hour in some hot degreaser water. And we just got to get all the grime off and loosen up the rust. And once we do that, everything is going to be a lot easier. But you can see how much we have to go. I'm going to use the big brush on the rust. And all this is going to do is get that grease off of it and loosen up that rust. So then when I get around to wire wheeling it, there won't be so much to take off. You can already feel it and you can see it. All the dirt and the grime and everything that's on this thing. We'll get all this crap off of this old girl. Because we don't need it. We don't need rust. We don't want it. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep on doing this, guys, and we'll be back. Okay, so this is the other front brake drum. And I let it sit in the Evapor-Rust for probably 4 or 5 hours in brand new Evapor-Rust, so it did a way better job. It still didn't get a lot of the rust that was on the side here, and it was starting to flash rust. But I rinsed it off and gave it the heat treatment and primed it, 2 coats of primer, and now we're going to be putting on some of this poppy red. And the other one, I'll show you guys in just a minute. It is way more rusted than any of the other brake drums, but it's not as grimy. It's the inside is really rusty, so I'm going to let that one sit overnight in the Evapor-Rust to get completely clean. And then we'll go ahead with the painting procedures after that. And then all the brake drums are done, and then it's really just onto the wheels. So let's get started. Just a nice thin coat for the first coat all the way around. And there's a reason, I think there's a reason why they call it poppy red, is because it pops. It's a very interesting red color, I will say. And we'll just get it nice and cleaned up and ready to use again after who knows how many years these things have been sitting in an old shed collecting dust and rust. That's one reason why I like doing this kind of work, is because it brings back something that could have gone to the landfill but still usable. And you know what, I think of it kind of like helping out Mother Nature, you know. Instead of sending your old car or whatever into the landfill to sit and further collect rust and everything, you know, you can just fix it up and drive it until the wheels fall off, and there you go. So we're going to let that dry. I'm going to put probably 2 more coats on that, and that brake drum will be done. And here is that other brake drum, the last one. I've got it in a big tin, a big pail, and then water around it, and then I've got 2 trash bags holding in that Evapor-Rust in there. And you can kind of see the discoloration in the water. I think one of my bags broke and there's a little bit of Evapor-Rust in that water, but I think all that water is compressing that bag, and I think it's keeping that Evapor-Rust in it, but I don't know if you guys can see it, if I can zoom in or not. And how rusty that thing is in there. It's pretty grody. It's pretty grody. So I'm going to let this one sit overnight in some of that fresh Evapor-Rust so it can do its thing. And then prime it and paint it, and all the brake drums will be done. Got to finish up those rings. And then start on the wheels, find a pair of tires, and slap those things on that puppy. And there it is. There's the last ring with the last coat of paint on the other side. So that's it for the wheel work so far. If we go over here, I've got the other two that I painted up and hanging so they can dry. And then here's the one that I didn't paint. I just primed it all the way till about here, because we still got to fix that one little broke piece right there. And then here's the other brake drum, freshly coated and painted. And then, as I showed you guys, the other one's out there in the evaporust. So we're cruising along, guys. We're cruising along. The last thing we're going to have to do is I'm going to just have to do the same procedure on these bad boys. These are really going to take a hard hit to the evaporust, but I've got another bucket coming soon. I want to paint these navy blue as well, and they should clean up just as well as all these other parts. Absolutely. Okay, so we're back a good many hours later to check up on the final brake drum. This is the one that I did not degrease or clean first. It was more rusty than grimy, so I figured slapping it in some brand new evaporust will probably do most of the work. So let's get it out of here. I'm also going to have to get the evaporust out of here too, because I'm going to reuse it. Alright, so that is 20, not over 24 hours. Yeah, you can see there's still a whole bunch of rust in there. But for the most part, it got all the outside stuff. I'm going to have to definitely evaporust these bolts or these nuts. But we're going to go ahead and rinse it, get it heat treated, wire wheel it, prime it and paint it, and then it's onto the wheels. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So now I'm going to go ahead and rinse it off with some hot soapy water. I haven't tried it with soap water yet, but the whole main goal of rinsing it off is to get all that evaporust off, or else it's going to turn really sticky and nasty, and you don't want that. So we just got to get all that evaporust out of there. And there we go. Now we can go torch it. Yep, you guys have seen me do this before with many other parts. All I do is I take the old fire stick here and I just heat it up and I get all that moisture out. And this is going to take a while because it's a big brake drum and it's thick metal. So I will not keep you guys waiting on me. By the next time you see this brake drum, it is going to be just like the other three. So stay tuned. And there she be. 3 coats of poppy red later. That can lasted all 4 of the brake drums. Just one single can of Rust-Oleum poppy red. And this one, this brake drum was in rough shape. It took a beating from the rust. It's still rusty on the inside, at least on the flat top part here. It had a lot of rust here where the evaporust didn't get on the threads and everything, so the top of the threads are a little banged up. One of the nuts was actually stuck on there, and some of the threads on both the stud and the nut are going to need to be tapped. I'm definitely going to have to tap a good number of those lug nuts. So But that's it for the brake drums, guys. They are all done and completed and ready to go. Now, we got to get to those wheels. Alright, so on to the rims. I have one of the rims here. It's unprepped. I've done nothing. I have not cleaned it, wire wheeled it, anything like that. I'm just going to stick these straight in the Evapo-Rust and see how much that minimizes the work I'm going to have to do on these, because I do not want to be wire wheeling all of these flipping spokes for the next million years. So I'm going to be using a little bit of some of the old Evapo-Rust stuff that I have. And then I have a new bucket down here. And then I'm just going to leave it for, I don't know, probably a couple of days. Would be my guess. I hope I have enough. So we'll see. But I tell you guys what, if you need to remove rust, get some Evapo-Rust. Oh yeah. On to the next bucket. Fresh. And yeah, some of you are probably saying that I'm probably going to contaminate the new Evapo-Rust. Yeah, I know. But you know what? I'm going to need to buy more anyway. Yeah, this is going to take both of them. Barely enough to cover one rim. And that's about 5 and... no, probably 5, 6, 7, 8... 8.5 gallons of Evapo-Rust right there. Let me get you guys and show you guys here. There's the wheel. It is in the Evapo-Rust. Now I'm just going to grab my specially designed scissor cut bag, and I'm going to put it over it. Just like that. And we're going to leave that for probably 2 days. Now I figured, since we're waiting on those wheels to Evapo-Rust, because that's probably going to take at least a week and a half for each wheel. I'm saying that as a whole. I'm going to leave each wheel in for a couple of days. Do the same procedure I've done for everything else, as you guys know. And then the wheels will be done, and I'll just need to find some tires. But in the meantime, I figured I'd show you some other parts that I have gotten for the old Oakland. You guys probably remember this. This is the AC Model B fuel pump, and it's in pretty good shape. This is this is the spare, because it's broken right here on the die cast. But I managed to get a fuel pump kit. Comes with the diaphragm, the screen, and everything else. So I thought that was pretty cool. I probably am going to do a video, guys, a separate video on this fuel pump. This is just a very interesting fuel pump to me. I'd like to know how it works, and I'm sure you guys would too. And then there's this other part in here that I got. It's the actual sediment bowl itself. Now the thing is here is it fits. It fits the fuel pump just fine. The only problem is it's too short. As you can see, it fits in there perfectly until you add that. It's too short, and so what I'm thinking I'm going to do to remedy that is, considering this is the spare, the sacrificial one, I'm going to take it apart, figure out how it works so I don't screw up the good one when I put the rebuild kit on it. And then I'm probably going to end up experimenting and taking this little piece off that holds that fuel bowl on, just like every other sediment bowl, because these do come out. I'm going to chop it, and I'm going to angle those bars so it's short enough that it'll fit that fuel bowl. My dad said it should be fine. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't be fine either. It's just a little bit smaller. I don't think that carb needs too much fuel to it, so yeah. And then there's one other thing I gotta show you guys. So I've noticed throughout my journey with the Oakland that there's very few people that own them. Very few. And I don't know where any of them are. So what I decided to do is I decided to create a Facebook group that you guys can go and check out for yourselves. I don't have a lot on it, you know. But it is called Oakland Classic Cars. Right there. You guys can go check it out. I don't know if I can put a link in the description for this or not. You have to have a Facebook account to get on Facebook. I found out multiple times. But I figured I would just create a group specifically dedicated to Oaklands, and I will allow Pontiacs that have the old V8 engine in it that the Oaklands had, because there's a weird history right there and I don't know much about it. So yeah, I just figured I'd tell you guys, you know, there is a Oakland Classic Cars Facebook group now ready to use. You guys can buy, sell, trade, I don't care. I just want to connect the Oakland people together so we can help each other out and keep these old cars on the road. And here's a better view of the little group. I don't think you guys could really see when I tried to show you. So, Oakland Classic Cars. And here's rim number 1 and rim number 2. They're both cleaned up, evapo-rusted, primed, and painted. The other two over there still need to be done. I'm waiting on some more evaporust because I used all my good stuff up. Now, while I was doing that, I ended up buying a tire. Now, the guy who sold me these rims had said that his car runs a 5.50 by 20. Or not by 20, by 19. So I went on the old Coker tire and I started looking for some tires and some tubes. And I found this guy, their Excelsior line, the Excelsior brand. Pretty nice tire, nothing fancy about it. Road tread. And this one is a 5.75/5.00 by 20. 20-inch rim, and then right here, these two numbers you're looking at for rim width wise. Now, I measured this tire, and I'll show you guys in a little bit. I thought it said 20-inch across. The problem is this tire, or this rim at least, is really hard to get an accurate measurement because you can see the hump there doesn't help with alignment of your tape measure. And I went on the Coker Tire website and I did specifically what they said. And I at least got one measurement right, and that is the rim width, which is this here. See, these numbers do not actually mean what they look like, and I'll explain that in a minute. But as you can see, this tire is way too dang big. This rim is 19 inches, the tire is 20 inches, so there's about an inch of play in between right there, which sucks. This was the cheapest tire they had, and it still takes a chunk out of my check, with the added bonus of a tube. It's also built for 20 inches. Now, for, like I said, measuring, you have to measure from a specific spot to a specific spot on the other side as best you can. I think where I went wrong is I measured not the outside of this lip, but the inside of this widest point on this lip, whereas I should have measured here and then to the other side. And I probably would have gotten 19 inches then. But the way you measure the rim width, this is the diameter from one side to the other. So the rim width itself, I think I got right because it's about 2 3/4. I don't know if you guys can really see that, but it's right there on that lip. You measure all the way down on one point on the bead, and there's your measurement for the rim width. Okay, so as I stated earlier, this is an Excelsior branded tire. Figured I'd go ahead and show you what kind of happened and what went wrong while I was searching for tires. Excelsior bias ply. there's your size. There is your ply width, which makes no sense to me why they would say that when it equals the rim width right here, which is 2.5023. So they give you a little bit of leeway, and I am right in the middle there. I am at 2 3/4. So that would be 2.75 in decibel terms. And then you have your 20-inch right there. So where I went wrong was I thought it was a 20-inch when it's a 19-inch. But considering they give you a little bit of leeway here on your rim width, 2.50 to 3, I'm good there. Alright, so now we have to wait just a little bit longer to get those last two rims primed and painted and cleaned up and all that, and then I gotta go and get more tires for those wheels. I should hopefully have a 19-inch wheel coming here pretty soon. But after those wheels are all done, got all the tires, and get that one ring welded up and repaired, next thing is the engine. We're going to be focusing on the engine after these wheels. I'm not going to be able to get the wheels on this year. I have too much going on, so you guys are going to have to wait just a little while before we get to see those pretty wheels on that car. But like I said, we're going to be focusing on the engine afterwards, and as you guys have seen, I drug out that other engine block, and that one is in way, 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 way better shape than the other one, with everything locked up tight inside of it. So I figured, while I was doing my wheeliness, I contacted a certain character named Wayne Koffel. Now, for those of you out there who are Oakland gurus, you will most certainly know who Wayne Koffel is. And he is a guy that runs Oakland Sales and Service out in PA, Pennsylvania. And he claims himself as the only full-time Oakland mechanic, because that's all that guy does. You can actually go and see a couple of videos that a beautiful classic YouTube channel known as 805 Road King has out there. You guys should go check out that video. It kind of shows what Wayne does and everything. But I figured I would go ahead and contact him, since he is the man that you want to know when you're working on an Oakland. I'm sorry guys, I'm just trying to get some information figured out here so I can explain to you what we're going to be talking about. Let's see, where do I have to go? Right there. Okay. So anyway, I got in contact with Wayne, and he gave me some much needed information. Some much needed information. Okay. Alright. Sorry guys, I had to look through my Oakland shop manual. You guys have seen this before. This book has been invaluable. Anyway, so I contacted Wayne. I mainly was asking him about the main engine seals. The seals that go at each end of the crankshaft. And from what he was telling me, if I can find it here, it's all the way down here. I was asking him about those seals. And where to possibly get some pistons made. The guy who sold me those rims pointed me towards Aggie Pistons, and I went ahead and contacted them, and they got back to me, but we're going to get in that in a little bit. But basically, the seals, from what he's explaining to me, is that let me see here. The main seals are made by putting silicone in the grooves and then putting the rear main in place. So those half Babbitt bearings that go, let me show you. So what I'm getting at, what he's saying, is somewhere in these bearings, in these grooves, somehow you put silicone in those and that seals it up. But it's got these holes, and these holes, I think, at least the front, or all of them at least, have these holes where you that's where your oil feeds into, so you don't burn your crankshaft and solidify your bearings and everything. But that's what these are. He was saying that somehow you put silicone somewhere in these things, and it's supposed to seal them up. So I have no idea. This book does not do a very good job at telling me how to do the seals. So, yeah, you guys know the drill. If you know, comment down below. But anyway, I asked him about the seals. And I told him how I was going to contact Aggie Pistons and how that one guy directed me towards them. But he said that Aggie doesn't have pistons. But the supplier he goes through, the machine shop he goes through, is called Ross Pistons. And I haven't contacted them yet. I'm probably going to do that and see. I really need to figure out where to find pistons, because my old ones are not going to work. They might. Maybe I can get those rings free and off and get new rings and then put the old pistons in with new rings if the cylinders are good. The problem is the cylinders might be a little warped or tapered or out of round. I don't know. So, to mediate that, man, I'm sorry guys, I'm trying to figure out where I'm going with this. So basically, let's start with Aggie Pistons. I contacted them. I sent them a whole bunch of pictures and pages from this manual explaining how those pistons work. And they needed the bore and stroke, and from what it says in the book here, the bore and stroke are 3 7/16 by 3 3/8. Now, if I were to go here and find that, email here, the tech that got with me had told me that the 3 7/16 amounts to 3.4374 in decibel terms. That's the original bore size. Now, the pistons they can make, one second, the pistons they can make measure out to 3.4375. They are 10 thousandths bigger than the actual bore size, meaning I'm going to have to get this thing bored regardless. So what I went ahead and did is I ordered a hone, a 3.5-inch hone. My dad helped me out with the differences here. So that's like a tiny, tiny bit bigger than the bore. What I'm going to do is, after I evaporust the block, because I'm going to get it cleaned up the best I can so that when I show up to a machine shop, you know, I'm not showing up with a rusty pile of crap. Because that's what it's going to look like to them if I just take that thing in there. And they're going to charge me for every single thing they're going to need to do to that engine. So the more work I do, the less I have to pay for the work. So they're like a 10,000th of an inch off. The only thing is I need to get it bored out first and then get the pistons. I can't buy the pistons the way the bore is and everything else without getting it bored. So once I evaporust it, I'm going to hone it out, get those cleaned up, take it to my machine shop, my engine rebuilder, so where he can accurately take measurements on where that bore is at currently, and then we will proceed with the pistons. So there's that. I'm going to need to contact Ross and see what they have for pistons, because that's the one that Wayne goes through. But yeah, if you guys want to see, here are the measurements of the bore and the piston. If you guys want to check that out. Another thing he said is that, or well, I've heard both, that the radiator caps are a problem. they are almost impossible to find, which is lovely, you know, not having a radiator cap. But not to worry, I haven't given up, but I figured I would tell you guys that. The next thing we're going to do after these wheels is the engine block. We're going to get it evapor-rusted, honed out, cleaned up the best we can. Okie dokie, so here's the third wheel out of the evapor-rust after probably almost a day. Cleaned up real well, you can see right where the evapor-rust didn't get. This one's in good shape, all except for, probably won't be able to get that tape off now, but there's a crack going right through the bead, so gonna have to weld that up. Thankfully these are tubed tires and not tubeless, but today I'm not gonna be painting this wheel. Mikey is. But first we gotta let him finish this here bagel. Mikey, how good are your painting skills, and what do you think the outcome of this wheel's gonna be, there, partner? What you thinking? What you thinking?
I think it takes at least 2 almonds to get to the moon.
Righto, righto, my friend. Okay, Mikey boy, are you ready? Are you ready?
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain. Okay, Mikey, so...
I can't hear you.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Oh.
Who lives in a pineapple under a tree?
Not you.
Nope, not me. Definitely not.
Not me either.
All right, Mikey. So here's the deal. You don't have to paint the whole rim. I will paint the side that has the crack. I gotta leave a little bit of room so we can get the ground on the welder. So basically paint half of a moon. And you're not, don't go, gotta go, nice light coat. I don't even want it fully covered. I want just a nice light coat, and that's, what the fuck? What the?
You said you wanted.
Let me show you here, partner. Let me see that. Oi, oi, watch the cam, man. Nope, you're doing it wrong, mofo. You gotta start at the big. I always start at like the biggest part here. So, yeah, there's our line, and we'll go. Nice even coat. Leaving a little bit of room. Turn that off, it's disrupting my airflow. That's up. I want down. I want off. Thanks, partner. All right. So just like that, Mikey. You don't go. That's how you get runs. Do you know what runs are?
A night after Taco Bell.
Well, aside from that, Mikey, mechanical terminology.
Paint.
Very true, very true. Paint.
Running streaks.
There you go.
Cleaning windows, you won't want to leave streaks.
Windex. And I'll get the inside. Can't forget the inside either, Mikey. Okay, have fun. Yeah. Yeah. That's looking good, Mikey. Hell, you should do this for a living. Don't you think?
We have no business. Why would I do that?
A double-sided business. I don't know. But as you guys can see, that is all paint on the floor. I've been doing a lot of painting in here. And Mikey's adding on to that too. Alright, Mikey, first coat is on. Now you can hit the fan. You can turn that dang thing on turbo mode. Where's that airflow? It needs to go. Yeah, right about there. Right about there. How dare you, sir? Alright, Mikey, coat number 2. And that's the only other coat we're going to need to do on this side for the priming. Then we got to let her dry for a while. Then we flip her over, do the same thing. And like I said, I left that a little bit bare over there where the tape is so I can get a good ground. If I got to sand some of it, no big deal. That's why I'm not painting it. I'm just priming it to keep that corrosion off. Pretty soon, it's going to look like that. And then the other one is in the Evapo-Rust, Mikey.
Evapo-Rust.
The world's greatest rust remover.
Rust is the world's greatest rust remover because it removes itself.
No, Mikey, it multiplies.
It removes itself.
Like rabbits. Okay, so first side is done. Same thing is going to happen on the other side. And then we're going to paint her. And then just to show you guys, the last rim is in the Evapo-Rust. I think I'm a little bit short. That's why the tops keep coming out rusty and not, you know, bare metal. But you know what? A wire wheel and some good paint work goes a long way to prevent rust from further happening. But, you know, same procedure for this one as every other one. I'm not going to show you guys all that because by now you guys know how it works with what I'm doing with these parts. And this video is also like over an hour long already, which I do apologize, guys, but I really wanted to give you guys a good video and see, you know, what's going on and everything. So I won't bore you with any more work. We'll keep going. Now this is part of the video where I once again show you guys some items that I have not previously shown you. Both of these items here are pretty darn close to miracles, just like that carburetor that I found in a previous video that I mentioned and went over. I thought that was crazy enough that I found that, but once I found these two items, these two take the cake. One of them, this one right here specifically that I'm holding, is just about as close to one of the rarest items you can ever find for a car this old. A radiator cap. And this radiator cap is real special because I've just been told by multiple people, and like I went over, including Wayne, he said it's one of the hardest things to find for the Oaklands. There it is. All nice and shiny in its glory. A little bit pitted, but you know what? It has all the chrome. Let's take a closer look at this thing. So there it is. That is the Oakland Eagle radiator cap for a 1930 to 31 Oakland or a 32 Pontiac. Because, as I've mentioned in previous videos, some of the Pontiacs had the same V8 engine, so they would have had the same overall mechanical hardware. This thing, I'm so happy I found. You know, I just grabbed it up as soon as I found it. I found it on eBay. There was two of them. The only problem is the other one didn't have any of this stuff. It was in way rougher shape, and they wanted way more money for it. This one has the seals. There's one seal underneath this big guy here. And this might look warped to you guys, but I do believe that serves a purpose for when you latch it down with these and you start twisting it, that adds pressure and keeps everything sealed up and everything. Because, you know, I can press down on that and it's not going to break. So it's not brittle. But you can see, you know, it's got its fair pitting and everything. But for 93 years old, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. It does kind of sit crooked on my radiator. Kind of sits like this. But considering that there's a screw holding this bottom hold down, I'm sure I can loosen that up and probably adjust it to wherever I need it to be. Put it at an angle and then twist it forward, and there you go. But that is item number one, and that is probably one of the greatest finds of the century right there, if I must say. I'm not even going to touch it, you know. It's perfect the way it is. The radiator's not going to get much done to it, unless it probably has some leaks. I'm not sure, but I'll shine up the chrome on it and maybe give this thing a tiny polish. But other than that, I'm leaving it. It's good. It's fine. This next item is a gasket kit by Olson Gaskets. They are the company that still makes a gasket kit for a 1930 to 31 Oakland V8 engine. I grabbed this up as soon as I could too, because this company's been around for quite a while, like about 50 years. And I didn't know how many more they had in stock or made or whatever, but there's the head gaskets. Sorry if it's blurry. I'm trying to be very gentle. I haven't done anything with this box except just put it away somewhere safe, but you can see in there is every single gasket I need. Intake gasket, oil pan gasket, every gasket I need for this engine is in this box. So I am also very happy that I found that. And just for the heck of it, here's the fourth wheel. Got it primed today. I also thought that right here, this little ledge here, was another crack. To me, it looks more like a weld. Because if you can see here, there's a little bit of patchy metal here. You can kind of see where it's been ground down. I think that's a weld. It does show up on the other side here. You guys probably can't see it, but it looks like it's a weld to me. So I think we're good on that front. Anyway, it's been a couple of weeks since those past video clips, and I still have not gotten those wheels fully done, guys. There's still one rim and one ring that need to be welded up and painted completely. So I'm not going to be able to do that for some time. I need to actually get these professionally done by a good welder. Because we are talking about wheels here. Going 50 miles an hour with a crack in a rim doesn't sound very fun to me. But I did manage to actually get an actual size tire. 4.75/5.00-19. So it's the correct size. It looks good. It's true. I got the tube and the band strap. This measures for a 17-inch to I believe a 19-20 inch. From what their website said. It's too small to actually, I think, I've seen people where they air up the tire or put the tube in the tire, air up the tube, and then there's one that's a little thicker that you kind of slip into the crack here, and I think that protects it from the actual, the rough surface of the rim and all that. But, I mean, maybe you just strap this thing onto the actual rim before you put the tire on. I don't know. But yeah, still got to get that guy done. Whoa, I cannot speak. Hello, beautiful. And we still got to get that ring over there done too. In the meantime, we're gonna go do some other work. This is my life now. This is my life now. You know, me and this Oakland, we're connected. Like, actually connected by the family. And I have to get this done. This is happening. So now it is on to the engine block. And right now, Jake is out there trying to splash me with water, but he's also cleaning up the block to the 8 end right there. Hey, Jake.
Just because you have a camera doesn't mean you're safe.
I don't care. Hey, Jake! Do you think this block's gonna clean up nice?
No.
Why? Look at how pretty that is. So yeah, that's the first step. We gotta pressure wash it, and then we gotta...
You'll clean up nice.
What?
You'll clean up nice.
Get it away from me! Ah! Ah! But anyway, we gotta pressure wash it, and then we gotta dunk it in that evapor-rust tank. After that, I might paint the sides and the heads and get those cylinders honed out, and we should be good to go. We should be good to go. And here it is. We lifted up that block, lowered it in the tub. It is now soaking in the evaporust. The evaporust only made it about halfway through the block. So we're going to have to flip it at some point, but there's the water line right there. The evaporust is about halfway, maybe 3/4 of the way. So we're going to leave it in there for about a week, flip it, drain all the evaporust out into the bucket over here, flip it and do the same thing, and then it'll be nice and ready for some honing. And I just flipped it over. I'm filling up the tub with water. Still have to put some evaporust in here, but you can obviously see a big difference. This thing was 3/4 of the way submerged in the evaporust. I think my 3 bags got punctured somehow because there was a lot more liquid in that garbage bag when I tried to pull it out than there should have been for a 5-gallon bucket. So, but we are dealing with probably 400 pounds of iron and a lot of studs and stuff. But see, there's places where it couldn't have gotten the rust. You know, when I dump it, a lot of the evaporust goes in these little pockets and does its work and all that. The top surface looks real good. There's just some spots where it couldn't get, or where it was really crusty rust. And the evaporust is only going to work on the rust that it can get to, which that would be the top layer. It'll do some damage to the other layers of rust underneath. But, yeah, wire wheel will deal with that. And then we gotta get it back out, pressure wash it again, get some oil on it to prevent any further rust. We'll hone it out. As I've mentioned before, we'll paint the block, at least get it primed so it doesn't corrode anymore, and do the same to the heads. And then it's off to the machine shop to get measurements on this thing. And here is this other engine block that you guys have seen before. This is the one that's locked up with all the parts inside of it, the cam, the rocker rod, the rockers, and the valve guides. You know, I get a little cuckoo sometimes, and I get bored, and then I do things. And this is what I do with them. Figured I'd give it a quick and dirty paint job and primer, and I washed it off with the hose and scratched up some of the surfaces with the wire brush and stuff, and figured I'd make it just a little display engine until, you know, maybe someday someone can fix it up, because I discovered while washing it that it's got a big old crack. It's cracked all the way from like right here. There's the crack, it runs up through, and there's the weld. Yeah, so it must have frozen over and punctured the water jacket. So there's parts that can be used off of it. These heads aren't in real good shape. A lot of crap came off when I blew the pressure washer through the water jacket in these, but common issue is the bolts where that water pipe connects the two. Those bolts tend to rust out. The heads that I am going to use are in fairly good shape. They both don't have the holes. They both still have the holes. I'm soaking the spark plugs in PB Blaster right now, but these are the 2 best heads that I have. So these are the ones that are going to be going on the actual engine that's to be used in the car. Righto, let us go keep at this engine block, shall we? Okay, so I just lowered the block from the evaporust. This side spent about a day and a half in it, so not as much as that side. There's still a good amount of rust and corrosion on this thing, but it'll work for the most part for what we can do with it. I'm hoping it just loosened everything up, and I can wire wheel it, but we gotta be quick about this because a lot of this stuff is flash rust. So I'm gonna need to pressure wash this thing real quick and get some primer and some oil on it. So let's go rock and roll. And here's the end result. Just letting it dry out in the sun a little bit. Can very clearly tell a big difference in certain areas. This is a side that soaked for about a week. And then we have the side that didn't really, maybe about a day and a half, like I said. You can see the serial number now. It's so weird, it's got all these little A's right below the cylinders, all 8 of them. So I'm not sure what that means. But like I said, I'm just letting it dry. I'm gonna have to flip it over. I did pressure wash the water jacket because both of these engines were really nasty inside. So I'm probably gonna have to, when I pull it back over, spray some compressed air in all the holes and try and fast dry it as fast as possible, because we are dealing with flash rust, like I said, ladies and gentlemen. So we got to get some primer on the outside here, like underneath here, back here. We left a mask off, like put some paper towels in here and in here, mask this off. We got a lot to mask off on this thing, but we got to do what we got to do to preserve this. This is the only good block I have. That other one is cracked, and it probably could be repaired, but it's going to take a really skilled machinist and engine builder to do that. Capabilities that I do not possess. So let me go show you what else I got going on. Alright, so it might just look like remnants of what came out when I took the engine block out, but I can assure you there is a pair of heads in there, in that bag. I'm going to let them evapor-rust for a good couple of hours, and then I'll probably take them out this afternoon. I'll quickly slap them on that block, and then I'll get to priming. I'm probably going to prime the block first, just a tiny bit, and then once I get these heads done, I'll prime them with the block. That way everything's primed at the same time. Just don't want any more rust. You know, we spent all this work trying to get the rust off as much as possible. We don't want any more. Alright, so I've been wire wheeling at it for probably about 15-20 minutes. It's looking pretty good, clearing up real nice. You're starting to actually see some metal. It's going to be real tricky getting in the actual insides with the brush, but still have to do the front. Not much to do there. I'll flip it up on its back. This is the rear end. Cleaned up real nice. There's some pockets in there that need to be cleaned out, yada yada. You can just see once you get that rust off, you can actually see the construction of this engine way better. There are, however, 3 potential problems. These 2 cylinders up here. This one, and I kind of did a rough hone with the drill. I do have it somewhere right here. This is just small enough to fit in the cylinders to where I can do a rough hone with the brush and get the rest of the rust out. But there's 3 problems with 2 cylinders. This one here has some crap on it, and it's pretty darn deep. This one here is way more messed up. It looks like scale rust that converted to metal. And then right here on the actual deck, right next to the cylinder. That is bad. Hopefully these can all get bored out just 10 thousandths over. I'm not so sure. As for this, oh boy, I don't know how I'm going to go about fixing that. Maybe a really tiny fine Dremel tool. Probably not. Maybe I can on this, but on this it's actually pitted right there, which would cause blow by, and that's not good. Man, oh man. I don't know. Maybe I can just try and get it running, you know. It only needs 5-to-1 compression. This entire engine runs on 5-to-1, which is probably less than the 8-in over there, and it's just got a flathead 4-inner. These other ones on the other side, however, look really good. You can actually see some shine coming from them, especially that one. These 3 back here, a little bit of pitting right here. I bet that'll come out with the hone, though. And I do have a brake hone that I could probably get in all these little valve pockets here. It won't do nothing. You got to be more worried about the guides and the guides fitting and the valves fitting in the guides and everything than these. I actually did that on the 8N. The little valve pockets, I just took a little brake cylinder hone and I honed it out a little bit, got it all nice and shiny in there. The water jacket wasn't as bad. I found out that it has both a valve here and a valve here on the other side, and they're both open, and that's to drain your water jacket from time to time when you're changing the radiator fluid. It's still rebuildable, but that's going to present a problem, especially on the deck there, because you can't machine these. You can't machine them, ladies and gentlemen. It's impossible, especially with these nubs here. So, I'm going to keep wire wheeling at her. We'll get her primed up. Yeah. Oh man, that's a little disappointing. But, hell, it's way better than the other one. So I got it fully wire wheeled the best I could. I didn't really wire wheel in the spots in here, but I put a layer of oil on the decks, all the decks. I oiled the inside in here. I just used some, where is it? Some Costco branded full synthetic oil. 5W30, just to coat it to prevent rust. Everywhere where I'm going to paint, the outside is left bare, but it has been fully wire wheeled the best I can do. There's the Oakland logo. Don't know if that's a serial number. There's a number here. There's a number on the oil pan deck as well. But yeah, I got a nice light coat of oil throughout the whole thing. I'm gonna put the heads on. I had them soaking like I showed you guys, and I went out and pressure washed them. Now I'm waiting for them to dry so I can just tack 4 bolts on each side like I did on the display engine. I'm gonna go find one of the old manifolds and hopefully set it on top here. Then I'll use some lacquer thinner or something to get the spots of oil where it shouldn't be. And we're gonna go ahead and primer. I have everything masked off that I can, the best I can. Spot there, I need to tape that off. I'm not worried about here because nothing here gets painted. Everything behind here, however, gets painted. Might need to find those covers for temporary, the valve covers. Yeah, let's get her primed up. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There is the good engine block ready to roll, ready to be honed. I got a very rough first coat of primer on it. The can I was using had about an 1/8 left in it, so just some regular old Rust-Oleum gray primer. No automotive rusty metal primer, because we did the evaporust. And although there was some rust, you know, we got that off with the wire wheel. There's a couple of studs broken. The synchronizer lever is stuck on there tighter than a frog butt in a watermelon seat fight. What else? What else? That is stuck. Really stuck. Originally, I was going to try and fit this old worn out manifold, the one that's been eaten away by cancer, on there to cover the holes. But when I tried to, the holes weren't lining up completely. Like this side would be aligned, but this side would be just a tiny bit over. So I'm almost thinking like you have to have your manifold apart, or at least loose, to get it on there, and then you tighten everything up, which is really interesting. So hopefully that's not a big issue. I still have to get the spark plugs out. I soaked them in PB Blaster, and then, as you saw, evapo-rusted them for a couple of hours. Didn't really do much because for some reason PB Blaster really is liquid proof, and it doesn't allow that evapo-rust a lot of time to do its thing. There's one cylinder on the head that is really rusted over. It's pitted, which I don't think is really a big deal. except the spark plug is really socked in there. So yeah, both of these engines have their issues for being 94 years old, but this is the better one. It's got 4 kind of rough cylinders. 2 of them are okay, probably can hone out. The other 2 definitely will probably need to be rebored. And then that deck is another issue. But I primed the back the best I could. We just don't want it to rust again. That's the main objective here. So I might slap another coat of primer on it tomorrow. You never know. You never know. So let's get this big dog inside. So here it is. We got it indoors. It's first coat of primer. It's all oiled up on the inside so it won't rust. Here it is next to the manifold. I really want to put that on, but I can't because I'm going to leave all this cardboard masking. Still have to put at least 2 more coats of primer on it, and then I'll be comfortable. I'm going to paint the heads a nice silver finish. And then for the block, the actual block, I'm going to paint it the navy blue that I have on the wheels. I think it'll look really, really sharp. Really sharp for an engine. But I'm not going to be able to hone it this time, guys. You guys are going to have to wait till the next video for that. I have the hone over there with the brake drums and the tap and die for the threads on those. We're going to try and get this old car going, guys. That is the mission. That is the mission. And this is actually the longest video I have ever made on YAMAHSAKI RC. I hope it was very informative for you guys. It gave you guys entertainment, you know, whatever you get from this. Whatever you get from this. I hope it serves you well. Yeah, hour and a half long of me babbling on trying to fix an old car, but you guys are seeming to enjoy it. I'm enjoying it. We're all enjoying it together. So until next time, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment for more content. And YAMAHSAKI out. We'll see y'all later.